I would like to share with you, in my opinion, the essential tools for watch modding or watch building. The first thing I think we need is a good magnifier. There are different types. This one you could wear over your head just like the glasses. This lens could move forward and backward to change the magnification, and you could choose different type of magnification. There is also a switch here. You could turn on the LED so you will illuminate your parts pretty well. Later on when you install hands, you probably want one of these that has much stronger magnification. You can see this is 5, 10, 15. This is very useful in installing hands. The next thing is to keep your parts clean from our hand grease and sweat. So we have these finger cots, or you could use a pair of gloves. I find the finger cots keeps your hand not so sweaty inside the glove, but it's up to you. Some people will put cots on one hand only, leave the other hand without the gloves or cot, so you have a better tactile feel of your tools. Just try to avoid touching parts with your ungloved hand. The next thing I would like to do is to remove the bracelet. We could either use a flathead screwdriver to open up this link if you have the screwdriver type, or you could take out the spring bar. You could get a dedicated screwdriver like this, or you could buy a multi-tool set like this for multi-purposes. So here, we could use the screwdriver to take out the link screw. Once you get it out, you could use a tweezer to take it out by pinching at the end and pulling it out. So here, if we were to take the bracelets away, you could use these conventional spring bar tool, go into here and take it out. Or I find if you use one of these double prong, you could actually put it in and squeeze it. It's easier to get in. Yeah, I'll show you how to use one of these double prong. So to open up the case back, usually you could use a bowl like this, go on this, and turn counterclockwise. I find it works well on pretty much every type of back, but with a stainless steel one, it doesn't grip very well. So I got one of these tools. One side is kind of the square type, the other one would have the T type for these Oyster type of case back. Here's a close-up, you can see these Oyster T type. So we're gonna put it over here, adjust it to the right width, and counterclockwise it. Once we get it open, we need to remove the crown stem. So we're going to unscrew it, and we're going to use a little bamboo stick. Usually comes with the package of Radica or these cleansing clay. We're gonna press it to remove it. Okay, here we're going to remove it. You're gonna try to swing the balance away till it's not covering the stem, obviously, and we're going to push on these little tabs, so make sure it's fully closed in the position of the stem. There we go, we removed it. Next, we're going to put the movement out. It's easier to get one of these cushion to put on top of it and flip it. So we're gonna put it like that over, and you tap it and it will come out. In order to remove hands, you hack the movement and turn it to midnight, so all three needles are lined up. You're gonna use one of these tools, and you can see as you press down, it press and remove the hands. So we wanna put the dial protector on and pull it off. So usually I will put a piece of plastic over it. You're gonna open up the hand removal tool, push down and press it, and that will remove all three hands. Now we're going to install the dial and hands. I find one of these movement holder is the best because you could put the movement in it with the stem, and later on you could flip it and turn it over the other way. I actually made a custom dial here with a little bass guitar logo, so I could combine my passion for watches and music. So to put the dial on, there are two little teeth at the end here. We need to fit it into the hole there. So I use my glove hand and carefully put it on. Once you put it on, I usually put a bit of a saran wrap over it to see if I could protect the dial and push it in. So once we get the dial onto the movement, we are going to install hands. So the first thing you need to do is pull it out to the furthest and turn till you get the date change. Okay, here we turn it to about midnight, date about to change, and there we go. So that should be 12 o'clock at midnight. Then you could use one of these dial protector to lay over it so that the slit will show at 12 o'clock. So I put a bit of Rodico on the stick. It's easier to pick up the hands, or you could use tweezers as well. But the tweezer, I'm afraid might scratch the needles. So this is helpful. So I could pick up from the end there and put it over here. To install the hands, you probably use one of these press, okay? And one side is bigger, one side is smaller. So we're going to use the bigger side for the hour hand installation. So I finished putting the hour hand down. I used the tool to press down. Now I want to check, make sure the needle or the hour hand is parallel to the dial. So we're gonna inspect it, and this is where the big loop comes in handy. I'm gonna look at it from the side here. I got the hour hand on. Now repeat the process with the minute hand. We'll put it over here, and this time you'll use the smaller one to press down. I got the minute hand down. Now we'll double check again if it's parallel. So we're gonna spin around, make sure everything is smooth. Now we're ready to install the second hand. Instead of using the conventional way, using the putty and the hand press tool to do it, it is super precise to put that second hand over the pinion. I learned it from another YouTuber. He put a piece of Rodico and stick the second hands over it so you could gently move it over before you press. So basically I'm going to adjust it and press it down. That trick worked pretty well. I got the second hand pressed down into the pinion. Now we'll check it. Here's the fun part. I'm gonna close it in and see the second hand sweep around. Make sure it doesn't touch other hands. So we're ready to put the movement into the case. This is where I find it's easier to have a holder like this. You could simply pick it up. You're gonna flip it over. I'm gonna put it back down. So once we got the movement flipped over with the hands not touching anything, and that's why it's handy to have a tool like this. We could remove the stem. I'm going to push it in and take it out. So from here, we could take the movement out, probably loose a bit, and put it on one of these cushions. And we're ready to put the case over it. So make sure you get a blower and just clean. So we will clean the undersurface. So you blow it. I find the best is not to touch the inside of the case. So once you clean both the dial and the case, we're gonna just put it over this. And now this is where we could just flip it and tap it in. Now we just use the bamboo tool to adjust it so the hole lines up where the stem's gonna go in. You could push here in the middle part bit, just make sure the movement is in. Okay, here we'll talk about how to cut the stem to the right length. Once you put the stem into the crown, you're gonna insert it, and you need to measure the distance between the screw down part to the end of the crown and measure that. So let's say it's here, and then that's what we need to cut. So once you get the stem out, you could use the tweezer, and the trick is you could actually use the other end and put it in there to lock onto the square part. Then you want to screw off the crown. You're gonna measure that distance and you can clip it. So I find that's where one of these clip actually works quite well. So you will clip it down. You could use a bit of sandpaper file to make it smooth, and then screw back the crown, and then we'll test it again, okay? This one I already done, so I won't actually do it. So let's say we measured it, and we're gonna put it back in and turn a bit and go back in, and then it's perfect. So make sure you could pull out all three positions. You could do it. There you go. So you could do that and make sure it works, it hacks and it runs, and you know you're ready. So the other step is I use these Loctite. It actually helps to lock the thread. So once you get the crown onto the stem, I will dip it a little bit and then lock it in so that you'll prevent it from loosening. So before we put the gasket back in, they have these lubricant for the gasket. You simply open it up. You want to take the gasket, you're gonna drop it in. So once you put the gasket into the lubricant, you're gonna turn it around to lubricate it and you're ready to put it into the watch, just use a tweezer and carefully put it into the groove around the case. So before we put the case back on, we're gonna blow any dust off here, and same thing, I try to blow it on the movement. Okay, you're gonna put it back on. Then you wanna turn counterclockwise first to get the groove in before you go clockwise. And once you're in, we could take our ball tool to tighten it. So now when we finish the belt, we're gonna put the bracelet back on. Here's the finished product. I put on the bracelet with a spring bar tool, and I put back the screw for the link using the screwdriver. And here's the belt for the day.